week.
Yeah.
When I changed to the paid version, all of the functions are a little bit different.
Right. It said it's being recorded right now, so you should be good.
Yeah. So Tiffany has taken on the goodie bags and
Excellent.
the fillings, but everybody's collecting stuff. So far we have secured bags, 600 bags from the Department of Agriculture.
Oh, wow. Excellent.
Jessica, which I'm not sure if you met Jessica on the last call, Cynthia, come on board very recently. She got the bags. And
excellent.
They're also giving us a few things to put in there. We're not sure yet whether it's going to be the same thing or a mixture of things. And then who was the other person who got some stuff for the goodie bags? Oh, the university has given us pens.
Excellent.
Pens from the university. Rachel was going to secure notepads from the hotel, the Heritage Hotel. Oh, no, not the Heritage. The Hyatt Hotel, which is going to be our hotel of choice for people to look into when you come. So are you guys both on the mailing list and getting these updates?
No,
I was not. I think I just got something.
Okay, so let me just make sure, Donna, that
okay,
you are on as well.
Thank you, Gertrude.
Let me see here. Then at least we'll get.
Oh, there you are.
Okay, I've got
Hi, nice to meet you.
Busy doing makeup, trying to get some coffee.
It's much earlier. I had a 2-hour advantage.
Oh yeah. So which time zone are you in?
I'm in Eastern.
Are you on Eastern
Standard. So it's. Am I what? I'm sorry.
Are you in New York?
No, I'm in Reading, Pennsylvania. I'm about an hour and a half outside of Philadelphia.
Aha. Okay. Now refresh my memory again, because I just want you to introduce yourself to the group.
Okay.
How did you find out about the forum?
Okay. Deb King from, I'm an international wish teacher with Deb King, and she's on the North American team.
Oh.
And so I've known her for a couple years through our education process, but we actually met, we all went to Texas, a few of us, to meet in person. So I got to know her really well. She's beautiful.
I have to thank her. I've been friends with Deb for quite a few years.
Oh, great.
That's fantastic.
So you're from Australia, but you're living in New Mexico?
New Zealand, originally from Zimbabwe.
Oh, wow. Wonderful.
New Zealand was home for the last 16 years. I've just moved to New Mexico.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah. And like Cynthia was saying, New Mexico is the land of enchantment. I'm still
so cool.
Trying to figure out what I'm doing here.
You're finding
you're
out.
enchanting all of us, Gertrude. You enchant all of us.
Aww.
Yeah, this is one of those places that finds you. They say that the desert either sucks you in or spits you out.
Oh my God, that's funny. I never heard that.
Yeah, so what we've basically done is this committee is meeting every Monday at this time.
Okay.
And we're just talking through everything that needs to be done between now and May.
Okay.
And there's a lot to be done. We got the venue from the University of New Mexico, so we're not paying for a venue. I'm actually lecturing at UNM part-time.
Oh, great.
So that was one big expense. It's a venue that is not bang in the middle of the city. So it's about 15 minutes from the main campus. And one of the logistical issues we're going to have is food. There is a small cafe there. And the idea that we had is to get the Food Truck Association to bring in vendors so that there's a different variety of New Mexican food being served. There is space for that. I'm just working out with the guy who manages the grounds where our food trucks could be. The university does have a shuttle that normally runs during school term between the campus and town. But because it's the summer break, that it's not available. So just the logistics of getting people from the city to there, we have to kind of work that out still. So Cynthia, if you have any ideas.
Yeah, I will put my thinking cap on.
Yeah. So we have basically priced the conference at $99, bring a friend for $1. And the whole idea is to get bums on seats so that one person doesn't want to pay $100, they bring a friend, it increases our numbers. But we didn't want to overprice it in the first year because we want this to be an annual event.
Okay.
We want to create a brand awareness so that annually people are coming in and participating. Now, I attended 2 of the events in The Hague in the Netherlands and London. Tiffany, welcome.
Hey,
Good to see you again.
it's good to see you guys. Aren't going to see me because I look crazy this day.
Hi, Tiffany.
Hi,
Nice to meet you.
I'm nice to meet you too, Donna. Donna, that's it?
Yes, Donna.
Yes.
Thank you.
You'll see me in person later, but I look a little bit too stressed today.
Nope, understandable.
So what we want to do in New Mexico, when I went to The Hague and London, it was great the way it was run, very well organized. They had about 180 speakers. So the format is that there's a plenary opening session and a closing session where everybody comes together in one place. And then the rest of the sessions are broken up so people choose a variety of topics. So did you get the list, the web address where you can register?
Oh, yes.
Did you get that?
I did. I did.
Good. And Cynthia, did you manage to register?
I did get it. I have not signed up yet. I did get it, and I'm getting ready to head out to. I've kind of been a little crazy this last week. I had my daughter's best friend from high school was here with her 3 young children, and the kids won. We lost. They were great, but it was like, and my daughter's pregnant, so it's our first grandchild, and I'm like, I called her. I said, "Can I cancel that order?"
Oh no!
My husband and I fell in bed every night and go, "How do we do this?" So, and then I'm leaving this week. I'm going down to Mexico. I'm going to San Miguel, so I'll be gone this next week.
Okay. If any of you
so I won't be on the call. Probably, I may or may not be on the call next Monday. It just depends where we are.
Okay. So if you have a problem with registering, please let me know because we're testing the link.
Okay.
Okay.
Last week, somebody mentioned that they had a few problems. I think once you register, then you pick your choices of areas you want to speak. And we're giving people 5-minute slots, 10 minutes, and 15-minute slots. So you might get to speak in 2 areas, depending on how.
10 minutes. I'm sorry. Can you say that again? 10 minutes?
5 minutes, 10, and 15.
Okay.
So
Hey, Gertrude.
Hey.
So just an update on that. Last week when I was saying I tried to register, what I did find was that I think they had the wrong format in the Facebook box, so it was requiring an email. So I just put an email address in there and and went ahead. But then yesterday, I think we got a new link that for registering for New Mexico. So I don't know if people have the old link or if they have a new one, but it may be, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to try it to register, but it is up and going.
Okay.
Just so you know. And Grenada. I saw it. They had Grenada on there too.
Okay. So I'll double check and just make sure everybody's got the right link. I'll email people again. They must have updated the website.
I had sent mine in, Gertrude, but I thought it was my fault maybe that it didn't go through because I was away in Pittsburgh and we had poor internet service at my hotel. So I'll try again.
Okay, try again. Just let me know if you have problems and I can make them aware because everything is being done and controlled in India.
Oh, okay.
I don't have access to changing anything on the page. The main office in India is handling everything.
Okay.
You know, that is such a blessing. It really is such a blessing that you don't have to do website updating and that type of thing.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. So I will email you all the list of areas and things we need to do. There's an organization called Global Ties here in Albuquerque who advertised for us for volunteers. So if you know people who would like to volunteer, please let me know.
Okay.
And what happened is I started getting people actually contacting us. So I need someone to step up and say, look, I will manage the volunteers. So one of the things that I found at the last 2 events that was a little bit disorganized was that when people arrived at the actual venue, there was nobody there to really guide them in terms of where to go, how to go. Little things like the doors to each of the sessions weren't properly labeled. There was a lot of confusion. And what we're trying to do is to publish a booklet that has a map of the venue. The rooms will be nicely labeled. Bios of all of the speakers will be in there as well, so people can stay connected afterwards. So I'm busy compiling that. And I'm basically going to be using the information you sent with your bio and your photo, so that at least people have got something that's not pieces of paper, so they know where they're going from day to day.
Okay.
I have a question, Gertrude.
Mm-hmm.
Since it's being at the university, and I know that you're utilizing some students from the film department, is there a production department, or is there a grouping of people who do productions or events? Because I think that when a person who does production handles the volunteers, they have more of a grasp on the flow of events, and so it actually
you're
helps.
talking about with regards to filming of the event itself?
No, not the filming. I'm talking about the actual handling of the volunteers, because that's like a front end production piece. So say like the people who work in the theater, they know that there's certain people on the day of the show who are handling passing out the brochures, who are handling directing people to their seats. Like just people, I just know somebody.
I know what you're saying, and I actually think it's too big a task for one person to handle. This is why each specific area will have one person managing it. So I have one of my lecturers from the university who I've asked to manage just film and sound. I'm looking for someone to manage registration. So we have to break out everything that needs to be done and find at least 10 volunteers for each of those areas. That's kind of how I'm envisaging it. I don't know because it would be too much for one person to orchestrate the whole thing. I don't know what you ladies think.
I think definitely it'll be too hard. Okay, so let me just go back. So sometimes, I used to be in production for fashion shows and for modeling. So what I'm talking about specifically is front end, which has nothing to do with the actual show or the filming. It only has to do with taking care of the front of the house. So this will be considered front of the house, registration and all those kind of things. Definitely, if you have one person who, what you're asking is over the volunteers, that will work. But what we have to figure out is where are the volunteers coming from? Are they going to be students who are going to be there, or the soliciting volunteers? I think the volunteers need to be local.
Oh yes, no, definitely.
Yeah, to guarantee. So there's a connection that has to be made between where the pool of volunteers will be coming from, and then it'll be easier to have one person say, okay, you're going to contact this person, and then this person is going to help you prepare for the actual event, and then the day of you come together, or the day before you meet and get things together. But those two things kind of have to meet first.
Yeah, okay, I hear you. Two things that I have done is the African American Affairs Office has got a group of 100 young girls from high schools that they've been working with. And we are asking through that organization if some of those girls might want to be volunteers. I've also reached out to the Kirkland Naval Base. So one of the ladies who's going to be involved in the forum is ex-military, and she told me that the Army, the Air Force, they're always looking for volunteer opportunities.
That's awesome.
So she says they're really good at coming in and maybe setting up, putting tables, chairs, helping us get all of that done, and then breaking everything down afterwards. So she's going to reach out to Kirkland Air Base and see if we can get some volunteers from there. Yeah, we actually need a logistical team that just comes in to set up and take everything away. And then in between, we have other people managing the different areas.
May I ask how many people you're anticipating, Gertrude?
So we are hoping to attract 500 women this year.
Wow, that's great.
We want to give away 100 scholarships to girls in high schools and 100 scholarships to girls in tertiary education.
Okay.
300 are speakers, women from the community, women who are participating in the forum. That's the goal.
Awesome.
Now, when I went to The Hague and the Netherlands, just speakers alone, they had about 180 speakers.
Okay.
So people start in the morning. Oops, I just need to disconnect my phone. I have a friend from New Zealand calling me. Sorry about that. I thought my phone was off. Now I can't stop it. And she's ringing both on my phone and on Facebook. Yeah, so we had about 180 speakers just on the speaker side. So it's a forum that really attracts a lot of women. They're doing some amazing stuff, and we want to try and make sure that we create something tangible in terms of how the results of what we want to create from the forum is to raise money for 100 scholarships to send 100 girls to college each year.
That's
now,
fantastic.
New Mexico is unique in that there's a lottery system for you to get university entrance. And one of the things that people struggle with, especially from the poor communities, the reservations, the low socioeconomic communities, is just money for food and transportation and accommodation in Albuquerque. So they can get to go to college for free. You can get into the New Mexico State lottery.
Wow.
But a lot of kids aren't grabbing the opportunity because parents can't afford those three basic things. So that's one of the things I would love us to try and achieve as a group, is to get sponsorship for at least 100 students every year. So when we meet, we're doing something concrete and tangible. And also to try and empower the women in the community who make jewelry. So you can see New Mexico is famous for turquoise and silver. And there's a lot of artisans here who do not get paid what their work is worth. And one of the things I was hoping we could do is create a website. And Cynthia, you were talking about teaching women how to code. I'm working with a nonprofit in Albuquerque called Cultivating Coders, and we've been training Navajo women how to create websites. So through that organization, I'm seeing us economically empowering women by giving them a web page where we show them how to take digital pictures of their work, set up a PayPal link, and help market and promote that website. So they're getting paid directly.
Excellent.
I love it.
So those are our two goals as a group. It's the Scholarship Fund and empowering women.
Beautiful.
Cynthia.
Yes.
What are your thoughts so far in terms of, I'm not sure if you were on the last call.
I was not.
You weren't. Did you get the update?
I received an update about where to register, so I've got that. So I don't think I got the last update. Is there anything in particular you want me to be aware of?
Okay, so I'll just pull out my notes. If you can both friend me on Facebook, we have a Facebook group, and what I've been doing is after the meeting, if you miss it, and you know you're not going to be able to be there, if you just email me in advance, and you've got questions or things you want to contribute to the meeting, I can raise them even if you're not there in person. So if you have your views, your points on certain issues, while we're meeting like this, all of your issues can be raised as well. And the reason why I'm recording the call is so that you can catch up in terms of what was discussed in the last meeting. So nobody's actively taking minutes, but we're recording the meetings, and then I post the video on Facebook in the group.
Excellent. Yeah, and you and I are friends. So we're friends on Facebook.
Okay, so I'll add you to the group, and Donna, if you could do the same.
Absolutely.
Then at least it just keeps everybody up to scratch. So we had a press release created by a lady who owns a marketing company here in Albuquerque. And she's agreed to take over all of the marketing and promoting for us, for all of our forum activities. So I'm hoping that, we can pull that off. She's going to try and get me on a few TV shows and radio shows as well. So we start appealing to the community. I went and had a meeting with the Office of Justice and Peace. I have a friend who is the manager there, and she has connected with a lot of women's organizations here in Albuquerque and in the state. And some of the issues that were raised that they wanted us to add to the topics of discussion, and this is something both of you can also contribute to, if you didn't know, Donna and Cynthia, if you look at the program, if there's anything you feel we need to add, please let me know in terms of talking topics. We also want to raise, local US issues. So we have added a few in there around Native American women, but the Office of Justice and Peace brought up a few things that shocked me. There's a lot of human trafficking in New Mexico.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Sex and labor. And this lady is a lawyer, and she raised a lot of points that she thought would be worth discussing, especially on the reservations, apparently.
Wow.
Wow, that's awful.
There are a lot of issues out there. So if there's any other talking points you want me to add, please just email them to me, and we'll update the website.
Wow.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So what we also want to do is mentor, coach, prepare the women for speaking. One of the things I found when I was in The Hague was that women came from all over the world, and if they weren't professional speakers and they had 5 minutes, they didn't really get to use their 5 minutes to the maximum because they weren't fully prepared. And the lady who...
You know what may be a really great idea is to write up a one-page simple primer on how to give, the key points. You have 5 minutes. Here are the 5 things you can do, and maybe share that with anybody who is accepted or going to definitely be speaking, so that, if you have 5 minutes, here are the things you do. You say what you're going to say, and then you tell them what you said. Not necessarily that, but something so that in 5 minutes, here are the key things you'll have an opportunity to discuss, and then maybe leaving, a minute for comments or something. So that might be helpful if we've got anybody who's like a speaker coach or something.
Yeah, so Amanda is the TED Talk lady here in Albuquerque, and she's agreed to work with the speakers, even mentor them online if they need that kind of help.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's really necessary. So the other thing that we managed to do is to put together our request for sponsors. We have a template letter, so I'll email all of this to you guys again. And the template letter basically outlines our vision, the reason why we're doing what we're doing. And we have 4 levels of sponsorship, starting with platinum at $25,000, gold is $15,000, silver is $10,000, and bronze is $3,000. And then there's different things that each of those sponsors will get for their contribution. What else have I left out? Let me pull up the list of responsibilities and who's signed up
Well, while you're pulling up the list, I'll give you an update on the gift bag. I did send the request to Harrow through Harrow.
Yes.
Yeah, right. And so what I saw after I put in the information, because basically what I did is I read through a couple of requests that were up there already.
Yes.
And then I just kind of copied them and put in some of our information. And so I wasn't completely sure, so I asked for 250 gift bag things to start with. But again, after I put it up, they said that they typically put your request out 2 to 7 days before the deadline. So I had set the deadline like April 15th.
All right.
Because it's a month, at least a month before. So when I originally put the date, I was like, okay, this will give people time to see it, respond. But I may go back in and do another one with an earlier request date. But I did put that in there, so I just wanted you to know they're reviewing the request, and I put it under nonprofit women's conference. So it's in there. So I'll just do another one just to let you know.
That sounds good. Do you want to put another one? There's another website called sourcebottle.com.
Okay.
It's based in Australia, but it does reach people all over the world. You can specify what country. But
Source
it's
Bottle?
as Harrow. Yeah, source as in SOURCE, sourcebottle.com. And Cynthia, thank you for that. It's funny how sometimes you know stuff and you forget.
Exactly. It just crossed my desk. I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to share this with the team. I think it'll be useful.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. Okay, so what else, Cynthia? Just keep going while I look for this thing. Oh, so
I wanted to mention, I just tried to fill in the speaker form online, and it said select a topic, and and it did not accept that. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention in case anybody else is having a problem filling that out.
Okay, so that's still not working because that was an issue last week.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make them aware of that.
Okay.
You get an email from them where they will say, so which topics do you want to focus on?
Okay.
I'll make them aware that the website's actually not working.
Okay.
That's good. Thanks. I'm glad you tested it. So just to fill you guys in, the hotel that we've decided on is now on the website.
Okay.
And if you're coming in, please register. We have a deal with that hotel in that they're going to give us a rebate. If we get 200 people to book into the hotel for the conference, they're going to give us a rebate based on all of our bookings. And I think we're going to make something like $2,000 or $2,500 that can go towards our expenses. So I'm just encouraging everybody to go in and register so we can sell those days before the 30th of the month. The 30th of April, rather, is the cutoff date. Yeah, we got a really good deal with them. I think it's $119 a night.
Oh, that's reasonable.
Yeah. It's one of the best hotels in the city.
Awesome.
It's how much a night?
119.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that the people at the forum will do is once you've picked your topic and you're put into a group for that day, they connect all the speakers. So you know who is speaking, where and how in your area. And then they kind of encourage you to start talking to each other. When I went to the Netherlands, the group that I connected with, because I was self-funding going all the way there, I wanted to run a workshop so I could recover my costs. And one of the ladies had a massive database. She advertised. I ran a book writers workshop and made $3,000, 3,000 euro. Yeah. So use this as an opportunity again to create a global network. That's the reason why I got involved this year. is I want to connect with as many women as I possibly can and grow my personal network around the world in terms of my work and what I'm doing and the game I'm playing. So if you look at it in that sense, that you're really meeting people from all over the world, that's one of the most magical things that I'm personally finding. So I found my notes. One of the other things I forgot to mention is that the theme that we want to decorate the venue is going to be called Maternal Heritage. There's a young man that I met on one of the reservations up in Four Corners who is working with Native American youth around the arts. And he wanted to create a floating exhibition with children's pottery, paintings, jewelry, whatever they do, whatever crafts they can make can be exhibited. And so we'll be the first stop for his floating exhibition. And the theme that he's used to encourage the kids to come up with something is maternal heritage. So Native Americans are a matrilineal society. Women are the ones who are in positions of power. They're the ones who inherit the land, but they're the most disempowered at the same time. So we want to try and weave that theme into what we're doing in some way. And our closing ensemble is a musical piece. There's another girl who is not on the call today. Her name is Ellie, a good friend of mine. She's based in California. And she does drumming ceremonies where she works with people, healing with the vibration of sound, but all around drums. And so I asked her to source drums for us in New Mexico. And if you would like to take part in the closing ensemble and you want to buy a drum that you take home, she will orchestrate a musical piece at the very end. So we'll have different size drums. We're calling it Tribal Rhythms. And we'll create a piece of music together. So can you imagine 500 women drumming?
Awesome.
I think it's going to be so cool.
Definitely.
Something similar in Australia and in New Zealand for a conference once, where it was a team building conference, but teaching people in the corporate world to work together around music. And it's powerful. Wow. It is some powerful stuff. But you see, what it will also do is if you buy a drum, you're supporting an artisan who lives in New Mexico. Right. So again, we're just helping in creating employment. And who knows where this concept could go. So I'm excited about that. My list. Okay, audio equipment. So the university can give me cameras, but if we have our opening session outside the building as we had planned, we're going to need to set up a stage. We're going to need to have some screens to project because we have 500 people in that area. And I went for a meeting at the Economic Development luncheon last week. And they've put me onto the audiovisual people who help them. And I'm hoping we can get a good price for that. Because we need a stage. We're going to get some people to come in and perform different musical pieces so that it's not just speaking. Performances were also included in what I saw in London and The Hague. We had some women who did belly dancing. It was just exquisite. So if you know any performers, it's not just for speakers. We want to have a list of different types of expression, women expressing themselves in whatever way they can. So Adele had put her name down as the volunteer coordinator, but she couldn't make the call. She actually sent me a message apologizing. And then the other thing we're trying to do is identifying women in New Mexico who are quietly doing what they do in the community, would never get any recognition. We give away awards at the end of this event just to acknowledge women who do what they do, empowering and helping their community.
So unsung heroes.
Our unsung heroes, that's correct. So Cynthia, seeing as you're in another part of New Mexico, what organizations do you think we could shoulder tap where you are?
You know, I'm kind of new here, so do not know all of the local resources. I'm kind of like not had the opportunity to jump in as much as you have. But I know that like we have the university here, so I will see what I can find out is going on through the university that's reaching out. It's kind of like our university here focuses on agriculture, but it's also now focusing on medicine. So we've just opened a new osteopathic university teaching medical center here, so that's really cool.
Wow.
So I know also that we're working here, there's an entrepreneurial center, so I think that that might be a good place to tap into it. And I was thinking another great resource, and most people don't know this about New Mexico, it is the oldest vineyards in the country, the oldest wine making center in the entire country, which is huge. I had no idea. And that might be a great way to maybe get some sponsorship or something to find out about vineyards or anything else that are going on or wines here in New Mexico.
Oh, wow.
As a sponsor.
I wasn't aware of that.
I know. The Spaniards, I guess the Spaniards came first, and of course it's very Catholic, and of course in the Catholic Church, drinking wine is really important.
Oh, wow. And they are.
I know, isn't that fascinating? So I think that'd be a great thing to do is find out about who's growing wine, sponsorships, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, the lady who, Jessica, who's not on the call, who secured the goodie bags, said that the Department of Agriculture might give us wine bags as well.
Wow.
Oh, cool. Excellent. Excellent.
I like the way you're thinking.
There is in Albuquerque a place called St. Clair's, and they have a vineyard here, and they grow actually down in this area. They grow the grapes and that kind of thing. So, and it's a restaurant there that also serves wine and wine tasting. So, it might not hurt just to reach out to them and see how they might like to support this.
Okay, and tell me something. You're in Los Lunas?
Las Cruces.
Las Cruces. How far is that from Los Lunas?
I have no idea. I'm very close to Mexico, Juarez, the Mexican border, and El Paso.
Okay, so you would pass Los Lunas. Los Lunas comes first, I think. I've driven down to Juarez before. The reason why I'm asking is that Facebook has invested big time in New Mexico. They are building a huge complex out there. And maybe through the Department of Economic Development, I could get some kind of a tie-in with Facebook for sponsorship. This meeting that I went to last week, they were actually highlighting all the things that Facebook is actually doing in New Mexico.
Cool. Excellent. Yeah, I know there are a lot of very quiet things going on from major tech companies here. So it doesn't hurt to find out what we can.
Yeah. That sounds good. And today I am making a call to Yum Brands. I think I might have mentioned in my last meeting that I made friends with the CEO of Taco Bell USA a few years ago.
Oh, wow.
And when I reached out to him, when I came back to the States a year ago, I used to just be able to call him from the airport and say, "Hi, Greg, I'm in town. Can we have a coffee?" And when I tried to do that a year ago, he said, "Yes, I've moved to Dallas," because he used to be based in LA. And now he is the CEO of Yum Brands, which is Taco Bell, KFC, and Pizza Hut.
Okay.
And I'm going to make a call to him and see, because they already have a youth leadership program in Alaska where they empower Native American kids. They bring them in for all kinds of training. So they're already kind of thinking along these lines, and maybe through their nonprofit wing, who knows, you might get some sponsorship from there. So I'll keep you guys posted for next week, but that's one of the biggest potential sponsors that I've kind of earmarked.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there's some good stuff going on. And everybody's kind of tapping into their networks to see what they can bring to the table, and do think of potential sponsors, because part of being part of the committee, that's one of the things that I'm asking everybody to do as well. Because if we each, there's about 45 of us in this group. If we each bring in some kind of sponsorship, I think we will hit our target very easily. The other thing is that, I need to make a call to Larry Lujan, and he's the guy who owns the Canyon Club, which is a golf course and a country club where we will have our opening cocktail party. So they've given me a quote. I haven't talked to the owner directly. I'm just dealing with his manager at the moment. It's about $12,000 for the cocktail party on the 21st. So when people fly in on the 21st, we can all mix and mingle the night before the event. So I'm trying to squeeze him and see if he can give that to us at cost. But I think it'd be a nice way for people just to meet before the event actually happens on the 22nd. So the 21st is very informal. People come in at 7 o'clock. You have finger eats, just a cocktail party and maybe some music. And then, we'll see what happens there. So those are my two big, hairy goals for this week, is to try and get as much sponsorship for the cocktail party as possible. So the way we had calculated it, if we get the 200 girls sponsored, so I'm shoulder tapping people who say, look, I love what you're doing, but I can't come. And I'm saying, well, if you can't come, would you like to sponsor a couple of girls? It's only $100. Okay. So that's kind of the approach. And so what I'm planning to do is if we sell 500 tickets at $50 each, we generate $25,000. So our biggest expense is really the food. I'm also talking to an organization called Fuddruckers. I think it's a national brand.
It is. Yes, it is.
I met the marketing manager for New Mexico. Very nice woman. She had asked me to help her write her book. So I want to reach out to her and see if Fuddruckers could potentially be a sponsor for food as well. So the food trucks will be great, but if we could just get the food sponsored, I think that will be amazing.
That would be.
Yeah, so we're kind of working on those two fronts. Anything else, Tiffany, that I've left out? I think I've basically covered what was on the list.
No, it sounds like you've covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, so anybody who's from out of state, one of the things you need to remember about New Mexico is to drink lots of water. You get very dehydrated up here. When I first came, my eyeballs would dry up. I had these severe headaches.
Well, now you said that. Now that you said that, what I think might be a good approach for some of the companies that might be local is for them to sponsor water and allow them to put their labeling on the bottle. I know that some companies some companies that's their one of their promotional things is to have bottled water with their label on it. So that could be an offer, a sponsor, because even a small business can do that if they buy water and put their own label
on. Okay, that's nice. That's a nice touch because water is not that expensive.
Yeah, they can sponsor water.
Okay. All right. So we need to reach out to more, smaller organizations. Because one of the things that was raised was that we need an emergency plan and a kit, just to plan for the inevitable. Because people do come to New Mexico. We're also high altitude here. Albuquerque is about 5,000 feet. And it does hit you when you first get here if you're not used to being this high up. So we'll have that in the kit, and we'll make everybody aware before they come and while you're here, just to keep yourselves hydrated. It is one of those funny places.
Okay.
Okay, so if I haven't left anything out, I'm going to email the to-do list to everybody. Cynthia, had you picked an area where you would like to play, where you feel comfortable? I'm really asking people to put their hands up to something that would give you a bit of passion and play in an area of strength.
Wow. And I mean, what do you mean by that? You mean on the committee or in terms of the conference?
Yeah, in terms of the committee and the conference, just to pick an area where you think you could add the most value.
I think I can bring a lot of help since I'm not there on the ground, but I'm here, is maybe do some social media, help doing some social media outreach, help make sure we're spreading the word through Twitter, through Facebook, all of those other things. I think that's a pretty good strength I bring.
Okay, cool. So what might be good is I will do an email introduction with you and Joni, the marketing lady, so that once she's got all of the marketing material together, the two of you can liaise and put a plan in place. Do you think that
sounds good?
Can I just ask or offer? I know what I started doing is sending personal messages to women, kind of outline, because I have women who follow me in what I'm doing already. So I've been adjusting that. It might help if we get kind of a form letter that anybody can send out, and just kind of, it's a personal sounding letter, but anybody can send it out. Because I know some of us write, but we're busy and we don't, that it takes us time, or some of us don't feel like we're good at putting words together. So maybe just like a simple, hey, this is the ways that you can participate. This is the way, if you can't come, here's the ways that you can participate. And if we have that information, like I said, I've just been kind of sending out to my personal following and my listing, but I know that could probably help if you're doing that.
Okay, so a template letter to our networks of women for participation, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I can draft that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a nice idea.
Then it just kind of makes it easier, especially, like I said, if some people are like, well, I can't go. Okay, great. These are the ways that you can participate.
Yes.
And support.
Okay, the other organization that I'm reaching out to is called the Women's Presidents Club. They're based in New York. It was started by an American lady who wanted to mentor women who are entrepreneurs, presidents of companies that earn a minimum of $3 million per annum. And I met Dr. Firestone when she came to New Zealand to launch this organization. And at the time, my company wasn't anywhere near that, but I got the privilege of joining into one of the meetings that she had. And she was creating a nonprofit to mentor women who had potential of creating businesses at that level. So I just found her contact details again, and I'm going to reach out to her this week and see if Women's Presidents Club could be a potential sponsor, if we could get women from that area to come and speak, and see how they could play with us. But they are all over the world, and it's a very big network. Oh, good. You're on the call. Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. It's been an exhausting week. I woke up, I said, I have a meeting this morning. It's like,
well, you just made it. This is awesome. Just introduce yourself to everybody because you're here in Albuquerque.
Yes, hello, ladies. My name is Samia Assad. I'm president of the Peace and Justice Center. I'm a social and human rights activist here in Albuquerque. A mother of 9, business owner, you name it.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Thank you.
So just recap our meeting last week and the issues that were kind of raised when we met quickly. Oh, she's frozen.
I'm so sorry. I couldn't hear you.
I was just saying, can you recap quickly some of the issues that we thought needed to be included in our program when we met last week?
Well, let's see. As I remember, we were deciding to whether what platform we wanted to have for the ladies, the scholarships, what is the mission of making the impossible possible? What does that exactly mean? We talked about human trafficking. We talked about mentorship. Maybe some ladies, one of the priorities might be, one of the requirements of ladies that may want to register, maybe something that would ask the ladies to be a mentor for a young lady. Scholarships, of course, we're talking about for those disadvantaged. I mean, it's just not money. We have the lottery scholarship here in New Mexico, but there's so many poor communities in Albuquerque and in New Mexico in general. Their travel expenses, the housing expenses, they needed help with that. So this is some of the stuff we were talking about. It got into, we should concentrate on the natives and talk about how to help them market their trade with their arts and jewelry. And that could also be one of the projects where we could teach them how to program and effectively to market their own arts. So they can have independence, economic independence. That's some of the stuff. Am I missing other stuff?
No, I think you nailed it.
Okay.
I think you nailed it. No, thank you. I'm glad you managed to make the call.
Thank you. Thank you. Where are you right now?
I'm at home. I just got back. I was in the mountains for the weekend.
Oh, that's nice.
I went to Hammer Springs. I had no internet, no cell phone. I did a lot of writing.
That's a good thing to do once in a while.
You have to unplug.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You have to. And it was snowing up there. There was snow. And it's like an hour and a half out of Albuquerque. It was so weird.
New Mexico is weird that way. I mean, like you have extremes everywhere.
That's so true. That is true.
Hey, ladies, I'm sorry. I have to bump out of here, but it's been real. Gertrude will catch up this week. Thank you, everybody. Nice to meet you, Donna.
Nice to meet you, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tiffany.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye. Yeah, so I will email out again. If you don't get an email in the next hour, it just means I don't have your name on the list. Flick me an email. But I'm aware of people who are on the call, and I will put out a list. It looks like Jessica is coming on the call, and she might have an update because she's been collecting stuff for the goodie bags. Hey, Jessica. Jessica, can you hear us? You are muted. Let's see if I can. There we go. Jessica, you're still muted.
Okay, there we go.
Hi, how are you?
Sometimes things work. Sometimes things work, and sometimes they don't.
Quick update.
Good morning. I did.
How are you?
Yeah. Great. I hope everyone else on the call is well. Sorry, I apologize for my tardiness. I was waiting for the didn't see it, but I found it on Facebook, so just joined.
Fantastic.
On my end, the goodie bags, yes, I have discussed with them getting the 500 assorted items. And the other question we had was what type of bags they were. And they are just the typical plastic bags of Walmart that they put your groceries in. So they are not the ones with handles that are reusable.
Okay. I was hoping.
So I'm not sure that you actually want those bags or not, but I did tell them that we would like the 500 assorted items.
I think let's take the bags as well. We'll still look for more permanent bags, but let's grab them because you never know, things may not work out the way we're planning.
Okay, then I will go ahead and talk to her about seeing about the bags then as well.
And ask for 600, just so we have a few extra.
Well, in the bags, it'll come with 1,000 in the bags, but the assorted items, I'll see if they'll be able to do more, and then I could tell them that I would return whatever's not utilized.
Yeah, because I'd love to make sure our volunteers, get something as well.
Correct. Okay.
That's awesome.
Let me see if they have 600 then.
Okay. Anything else to report back, Jessica? Because that was what you focused on last week, right?
Yeah, let me look at my notes. Go ahead and continue and let me look at my notes on some other items.
Okay. I think as far as my to-do list was concerned,
Did we talk sponsorships and corporations? Did we? I mean, I couldn't find anything on. There was nothing negative about Taco Bell and that scholarship.
yeah, I think Taco Bell would be a good one.
Yeah, as long as it's not military based and with the fossil fuel. I think everybody's interconnected, but I think let's just.
So that was something that we raised in the meeting, guys, in terms of our potential sponsors. And we were talking about not just accepting money from any organization. You know, some organizations will give us money to fog off their guilt in terms of what they're actually doing in these communities. Yeah. Fossil fuels is a huge, huge, huge issue in New Mexico. The oil companies. There's a couple of banks that you mentioned.
Yes.
So we just want to be sensitive and wary as well, because money does have an energy in terms of how it's given.
It does.
And we want to avoid those organizations that are doing more damage than good.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to fund the oppressors, basically. Just yesterday, I had a conversation with one lady. She is a victim of human trafficking as well, and talked about recently hearing about, again, oil production companies, wherever they have the digs in their wells, they kidnap basically human trafficking victims and children. So there's a market there, and it's feeding, I feel complicit even just talking about it, as we use gas, and how do we function without it? And we're so complicit in so many different ways, but it's happening right here in our own states, in our own communities. So we do have to be conscious.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes you ill to the stomach to think about it.
It does.
Yeah. And it's always the poorest of the poor and the most vulnerable who become targets and victims of this.
And, and nobody asks, because nobody, they're so poor, nobody cares, and it's horrible, horrible.
Can you tell them the story about the women who disappeared?
Which one? The
latest one that you told me.
It's the latest. There's 5 women from the Native community that have disappeared. They don't know. This is somewhere in the Midwest. But in Albuquerque, we have, about 10 years ago, we had 10 women in the West where there was a building, construction company building condominiums and apartment buildings. While they were digging, they found human remains, and they had to stop. And they dug into this little land. They found 10 bodies. 10 bodies. And till this day, 10 years, we still have not had a formal, decent investigation into the killing. Really dig into it, nothing. And they continue to build. They didn't touch that land, but we know 100% in that area, because it's right off of a highway. Highway I-40 is the drop-off point for most of the human trafficking. So it was right off of that, and they continue to build. And I'm with an organization called Con Mujeres. We work with different women and with their different marginalized communities, but especially focusing on the Chicano community. And some of the women that would talk about the rape and the human trafficking, and the shaming in the community, but they wouldn't talk. We bonded together and we tried to help and with the families of some of the victims, and an author who wrote a book. But we tapped into some stuff, but we're afraid to move on because we found out they put somebody to spy on us. This is just last summer, so we had to put a hold on it till we figure out how do we again address this, because it's there's more, there's much more, and so many different communities in America have those massive grave sites of women finding, and then they say it's a one-man killer. No, this is a pattern in the United States. Mm-hmm. This is a pattern where women are objectified and sold and do not have human value, and they bury them by the dozens. And we have not found the criminals. So I think there's some dirty police in it too. It's heavy stuff, but it's definitely worth talking about.
Man.
If I can just add, I think it's pretty empowering, though, the fact that you've rattled them enough that they're sending out people to watch. So I think you're on the right path, you know?
It is, but again, it's poor people. I mean, the author is scared, and you'll meet her. I will let Irene talk. That she was scared at some point to have, looking behind her back, and that's hard. There's a price you pay. It's very it shocks you and it unsettles you. Well, we try to be there supportive for one another.
Absolutely.
Yeah. These conversations have to be had, otherwise things are just swept under the carpet. Nothing really ever gets done.
Exactly.
We have to find a way to, I don't know, because you need to be safe as well. If it's one person or one organization, it's easy to be targeted. But can you imagine if through the forum we created, it's going to be a global awareness of what's going on.
Sure.
So there's many voices out of state as well.
Oh,
bringing these subjects to the fore. A lot more can be done from outside than from inside sometimes.
Yes, I agree. I wanted to bring a Brooke Axtell here. She's from Austin, Texas. She's the one that got up in 2015 in the Grammys and told her story, a poem about being human trafficked by her nanny at 7 years old. White girl, beautiful, but she tells a story, and she tells of the sex survivors that go on to tell their stories. And these are the unsung heroes. We need to support them, expose them, and to let everyday women know what's going on around them, and men and fathers and brothers.
Yeah.
I do have something that interjects nicely with what we're talking about at the moment. Yesterday, at my house, the sheriff from Doña Ana County and his wife, who works in teen court, were there, and I spoke to them about the conference and about some of these issues and items, and they may be interested in coming up and speaking or being a part of this. He sees a lot because Doña Ana County, for those who are not familiar, is on the southern border of New Mexico.
Yes.
And there's the video. It's on the southern border of New Mexico, so they deal with a lot of these trafficking issues. Plus, we also talked about one of the major issues in New Mexico and worldwide is drug issues as well that are going on. So he'd have to check his schedule, but he'd be willing to come up and be a speaker, and or his wife, who works in the teen court system, so she works a lot with females who have been through a lot of these issues and probably could speak to those items. And so they're kind of in the loop of knowing all the information going on in the state and can bring awareness to it, and also try to bring a positive spin of trying to bring some resolution. That's
good. That's good that you have somebody that can have accountability on the border. That reminds me, I don't know if you're familiar with Street Smart, Jessica. It's an organization here in Albuquerque that I know some of the women that do it, and I actually wanted to volunteer. They go on the street and they offer, because many of the times these prostitutes and these human trafficking victims, some are self sex workers, and some are prostitutes by pimps. Basically, they're human trafficked. So you want to go out there and kind of provide them food. They're hungry. Get information. Try to help out. And who's a dangerous these men that want to pick up these ladies or these children. They rat them out. They follow them. It's pretty interesting that some people are willing to wake up in the middle of the night and follow trucks right here in our neighborhoods. And they know who they are. They spot them. They give them out, and they have a website. Well, they'll follow a car the way they think it's an abusive John or a rapist, and they'll out them out on the internet. So there's different ways of combating this as well.
Wow. The other thing that I found when I was applying for my work visa, I worked with an immigration lawyer here in Albuquerque. And it was so weird because my first conversation with her, she said to me, "Are you okay?" And I was like, what do you mean? She said, well, the first thing that we have to do as lawyers in New Mexico is if somebody comes in and they've got immigration issues, this is a safe place for you to tell me anything and know that you can be helped. And I'm actually wondering if I should try and get her as well to come in as a speaker.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yes.
I was very, very pleasantly surprised to hear that, because she said that a lot of people who do have immigration issues are again targets.
I think that that's such an important issue at this time in our history and what's happening all over the world about immigration. And if you look at who gets absolutely the most harm in all of these situations, it is women and children. So I think this is really important. And I think, and I always believe every conversation, every topic, everything should be, and what's next? And the what's next should be how to have your voice heard. Where do you go? Right now, for the first time, you know, as much as I feel that women are moving into a place of oppression, I also see the greatest opportunity to raise our voice, to take our power back, to share it, and to give people the absolute skills, knowledge to begin to shift the conversation. And it's not easy for women. It's never been an easy thing to do, and I know that from my own personal experiences. But if we can make sure that every woman, number one, knows that there's a place, there may be women there who really need our help at this moment in time. So maybe having resources like, if you're in this country and you are in a place of oppression and danger and you've left your country, here's where you can go. So this may be something helpful. And yesterday, George Clooney's wife, Mal Clooney, was talking about how even in cases in Syria and around the world where women and children are being kidnapped and sold, we're not collecting that data. We're not doing anything to begin to prosecute anybody. It's like people are getting a free pass, and I think it's this incident you shared earlier. Why are we giving away a free pass? And how do we begin to shift that from a place of power and not be abused? One thing I know is that it's a climate that, one, oppressors, the first thing you need to do is let them talk. Yeah. You have to listen. You have to let them talk, especially in this climate where people are angry and everything else. Then when they've been heard, because it's anybody who's angry, a lot of times they just don't feel like they're heard, we can create that and begin to shift the conversation. So that may be something we need to be conscious of, and making sure if we're welcoming people from around the world, what can we do to have a greater impact in the long term?
Yeah, I like that, because really we don't want to just meet and then disperse and then what?
Right.
We want this to be a platform that empowers going forwards.
Well, and
I think
along with that,
go ahead. I think also is educating the community, giving the tools the community to take part in protecting women and children. A lot of the times we're complicit by not knowing. We really don't know what's happening. You know, money, sex, and power have been the longest trades, man. You know, they've been in since the beginning of manhood. But in democracy and in a country like this, to not give people, because many people do want to help, but they just don't know.
They don't know how.
Prevention,
well,
education as well too.
I think you should go and have an immigration lawyer there, and somebody like that should be sponsoring.
Okay, I'll approach her. I'll approach that companies. They were really good to me. I never ended up using them, but that was the first conversation was, are you okay? And it kind of threw me because I was just pleasantly surprised.
And you're from Africa and you're susceptible. You're a woman, you're from Africa, and you're susceptible. Let's face it. I mean, women of color also are the first to be attacked. One more thing is that we do have a human trafficking task force here in Albuquerque. The Attorney General, Hector Balderas, has been very active with this, so we can reach out to him as well.
Okay, could you help us with that?
Oh, yes, I can talk to Hector.
Fantastic.
I think that that's where last time when we were talking on the New Mexico meeting you had on Wednesday this past week, that's when I had mentioned as well we're talking about trying to do something to bring forth resolution, and it's going to be very difficult to bring 500 people in from different places and try to bring forth some type of resolution. And I really think that, as I've thought about it, we should try to do that mentorship program where it's kind of like big brother, big sister kind of thing, but some type of mentorship. So all the women who are there could sign up if they want to be a mentor, if they would choose to be, because I know a lot of these women as well that are coming to speak might be distinguished women within their own right and have very little time to do things like this. But if they should choose to, I think that this would be a great job, just like you were speaking to prior, in trying to empower and not allow women to be oppressed. The hardest part of being oppressed is actually the mind of the person being oppressed, because they're accepting the oppression. So if we could assist with a mentorship of assisting them in those kinds of ways, I think the mentorship program is something that now with today's media, especially, most people do have access. We have talked about on the Native Reservation, there is not access to internet in certain places or cell phone signal. So that's a different kind of story in that areas. But for someone who might be in England, they could still be a mentor to somebody who they met here on the ground through communication of internet.
Cell phone.
Yes. But I do want to read something, and I think to try to make us keep our mission clear, and I think everything we're saying still falls in line with this, but the Women's Economic Forum, on there the paragraph says, Women's Economic Forum is a place for ordinary women to seek to rise to extraordinary heights, a place for dreamers and achievers to learn and explore, a place for living life to its fullest while embracing personal growth, a place to love and care and to contribute to societal upliftment. So I think as long as we're staying within those means, then it doesn't matter necessarily completely what we're doing. We're also achieving our goals as part of the International Women's Economic Forum conference.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say that out loud and keep it in mind so that we don't steer completely off course, because with that, we need to bring attention to negative things, but we also need to try to bring attention to positive aspects and attributes as well going on within our community and contribute to societal upliftment.
And that's where the mentorship can come in. That's where we celebrate women who have accomplished and have made something of themselves, and perhaps have a mentorship and spread their wings. Let them spread their wings to women who don't have that opportunity, and girls. By the way, happy Mother's Day. I know it's International Mother's Day today.
Thank you. I forgot about that. Fantastic. Well, ladies, thank you so much for participating. If there is anything else that pops up for you, send me a message and I'll share it with the group. And I will post this video on Facebook, share it with your friends, people you want to enroll so they understand the vision, the mission behind this. And let's just try and enroll our 180 speakers and create some magic with this. I think we have a real opportunity to create something that hasn't been done.
Yes.
We have an opportunity here, and I'm really excited.
I'm very excited as well.
Thank you for inviting me to this today. This is so inspiring and exciting.
I'm glad you're on board, Donna. I'm really glad I reached out to you.
Yeah, me too.
Give her a call today and tell her we connected.
I will for sure. And when this is done, can I just talk to you for 1 minute?
Yeah, sure. We can hang in after everybody's dropped off the call.
Okay.
So thank you, everybody. Go out there, do your thing. Let's get those sponsors. Let's make the connections in the community. I love you guys. Thank you for coming on board to help me make this happen. This is something that
thank you. It's an honor.
Thank you, Gertrude. It's an honor.
Thank you. Bye.
And get
Bye, everybody.
Nice
later.
to meet you.
It's a pleasure meeting you as well. Get you as well. Get hold of me later, please.
Okay.